an infection only map or some kind of rating your skin map, and anytime anyone tries to form a line, you always got a bunch of people who are cutting the line. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to build an automatic waiting line that prevents cutters and works all on its own without you having to do much. So as you can see, we got ourselves a pretty standard waiting line. You can make it however you want, of course. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure that these lines are covered in invisible walls. That way people can't hop over them or do any kind of crazy stuff. Now just to make it easier to see what we're about to do, I'm going to divide up some of the spots on the line. So as you can see, we got this set up here, and now let's go ahead and create some walls. This starting button is going to be how players enter the line queue. And there we go, we got our button set up. Now for the button settings, you're going to want to make sure that it's set to 1 second and also set to usable by infected. Now let's go ahead and set up some of our links. Now for each row, you're going to want to make sure you include a teleport block. You're going to make sure target affects infected, and you're also going to set the cooldown to 0. And each of these spots, we're going to basically cover up this entire area. So we got our entire area here, which is this touch trigger. Now, just in case, you can raise it up a little bit up to the ceiling. So the entire settings menu for this touch trigger and all the other ones should look like this. If you make 50 spots for 50 players, then you could definitely do that. I'm just gonna use a transparent wall. Normally you would just want to hide your links behind this. You're gonna make sure you put a timer next to each space, except for the ending space. Next, what you're gonna be placing down is an AND gate next to each of these timers. And on top of all these AND gates, you're gonna be placing down some NOT gates. And then finally, on top of all that, you're gonna be placing down some modifier gates. Now, for each modifier gate, I mean, they only got one use. So you're gonna wanna go inside the settings and make sure this setting is selected on and go ahead and hit confirm. So for our starting button where players are able to enter the line, we're gonna go ahead and connect it to our very first AND gate, the first spotted line. Now, we're gonna go ahead and connect this AND gate directly over to this timer, and this timer is gonna be connected directly straight over to this teleport block. Now for this spot in lines touch trigger, we're gonna go ahead and connect it to two different things. The first thing we're gonna connect to is the modifier gate. And we're also going to connect it to the next spot in lines AND gate. And the same thing again is gonna apply. You go over to this spot here, it's gonna go here, and then directly over to the next spot in line. So it's just gonna keep going and going and going. Now for this top modifier gate, it's pretty obvious, but we're gonna go ahead and link it right below to our NOT gate. And then finally for this section, we're gonna have our NOT gate go straight down directly into our AND gate. Touch trigger at the very end, we connect it to our modifier gate, but what do we connect it to next? Well, what we're gonna be connecting that to is a single AND gate. So we're gonna go ahead and take that touch trigger so it goes to the modifier gate, and then it's gonna go to this single AND gate here. Now we're gonna grab ourselves a modifier gate, just a single one, and we're gonna go ahead and connect it to the AND gate. Make sure clear last activated by is enabled in here, and boom. Now this green spot here, I'm gonna call it the stage, because normally whenever a piggy is having their skin rated, they're up on a stage. So this is the spot where they get to show off their stuff. The finish line almost. So we're gonna have our AND gate output directly over to the stage's teleport block. One of these controls we're gonna be setting up here is summoning the next piggy in line. Now we're gonna have this button connect directly over to our modifier gate. So just to give you guys an idea of what you should be looking at so far, this is about what you guys should have in terms of link connections for so far. So let's go ahead and summon in our first grandma. She's gonna go directly in line, and as you can see, she is being moved up the line to the very front automatically. Let's go ahead and have another grandma pop on in here. So she's gonna enter the line queue, and look at that. See, she won't enter someone else's spot. It is anti-cutting, and she is trapped in this one area until the line moves. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and summon in another grandma here, just like that. And boom, she's in line. She stops at the very end. Now what happens if someone tries to press the button but the line is already full? Well, in short, nothing will happen. She will basically wait until there's a spot open at the end of the line. So we're gonna go ahead and click this button to summon the first person in line. So all we do is hit this button, and when we summon up that grandma piggy, you'll notice the other piggies enter the line queue. The line moves automatically, so even if someone leaves the game, other players will go and fill in that spot. Uh-oh, wait a second. How do we get this person into a good or bad category? So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna give ourselves a touch trigger, and we're gonna put it on stage. We're gonna make it sure it covers up the entire area. These same settings are selected, so we're gonna set up these very, very simple little good and bad areas. We're gonna go ahead and drop a teleport block onto each one. We're gonna give it the same settings as before. We're gonna go ahead and put a button here and a button here. Set it to 0, usable by infected, and then we're gonna go ahead and label our notes. So we got our red area for the bad area, and then we got our green note for the good area. First, you're gonna need 2 modifier gates. Make sure that the settings of the modifier gates are set appropriately. You're gonna go ahead and connect each button. The green button is gonna go to the green modifier gate, and of course, the red button is gonna go to the red modifier gate. Next, what you're gonna do is you're gonna have an AND gate set up in front of each of these. Modifier gate is going into each AND gate. This right here, this touch trigger that is covering the stage, and you're gonna connect it to both of these AND gates. AND gate, go teleport over to the good skin area. This AND gate here, we're gonna output it over into the bad skin area. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is the worst skin in the game, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hit this button, and boom, she's in the bad skin area. This grandma skin is the best skin in the game. She's gonna go in the good skin area. And go ahead and boom, there it is. Now, occasionally, because some people will be laggy, some people might not teleport over to the next spot. The easiest thing you can do is just have a gigantic power deathlock go across all the spaces on the lines. You're gonna have all 3 of these checked. So let's just say someone doesn't end up teleporting and there's a gap in the line. We can just simply hit this button and everybody inside will be eliminated and they'll go and respawn wherever they need to be. Let's just say it's just one single player. So let's just say that this person right here is stuck and they aren't able to teleport when the line moves. They're gonna be like, help, Ernie, I'm lagging. You go ahead and ask them, what color spot are you in line? And they'll go ahead and say, I'm in the orange spot here. We're gonna hit this button, and as you can see, the grandma Piggy was just taken out. But here's something you can also add that makes this even cooler. We're gonna take an info block and put them above each AND gate. We're gonna take our AND gate and we're gonna connect it directly up to each of these info blocks. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna clear this text out and we're gonna put in this command here. So we're gonna say display name has a good skin. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and hit confirm, and we're gonna do the same thing here, except for the opposite. We're gonna have display name has a less than good skin, and we're gonna go ahead and hit confirm. So we have that set up now. I can't demonstrate it with the grandma Piggy, so why don't I do it myself? Now I know this line is meant for piggies, but you can also make it for players too. So if you go in here, you can just set it to anyone. So you don't have to do what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna use this remote to get me on stage, but we're gonna go ahead and enter the queue. So I'm gonna go ahead and teleport directly in. All right, I'm gonna use this to get me on stage. And now that we're at the top of the stage, so I'm getting my skin rated. They go ahead and rate my skin, and it's going to actually use my display name. So look at that, Ernie C3 has a good skin. You don't have to sit there and have a whole bunch of text blocks for a whole bunch of different names. It does it automatically like that. If you see a player's map with a waiting line where people are cutting and everything like that, and it's just a whole mess, tell them the channel name's Ernie C3, and this video is going to help them alleviate that issue for good. I've posted a bunch of videos on not just the new Paranormal Pigmas update, but also a bunch of tech on how to secretly use the turret, a bunch of secret tech that you can use on the snowball, all that cool stuff. So if you want more content like that, make sure you subscribe.